How to get a private phone number and cellular data. In our hyperconnected digital age, smartphones have evolved into sophisticated surveillance instruments that governments and corporations use to monitor our every move. These pocket-sized devices represent the most powerful tracking technology ever created, capable of pinpointing your exact location in real time, eavesdropping on conversations through always-listening microphones, and observing your surroundings through high-resolution cameras. The pervasive nature of this surveillance extends far beyond what most users realize, making the pursuit of communication privacy not just a matter of personal preference, but a fundamental necessity for protecting individual liberty and security. The data collection apparatus surrounding modern smartphones operates on an unprecedented scale. Major technology companies including Google, Apple, Samsung, and Microsoft have embedded sophisticated tracking mechanisms directly into their devices' operating systems, creating a comprehensive digital profile of each user's behavior, preferences, and activities. This information harvesting occurs continuously and often without explicit user consent, representing what can only be described as institutionalized digital espionage conducted under the guise of service improvement and targeted advertising. Perhaps even more concerning than the collection itself is the abysmal state of data security among these corporations. Despite their vast resources and technical expertise, these companies consistently demonstrate their inability to safeguard the personal information they so aggressively collect. Nearly every day brings news of another major data breach, with customer information from social media platforms, cellular carriers, and even government entities being leaked onto the dark web where it can be purchased by anyone with malicious intent. This pattern of collection followed by inevitable compromise creates a perfect storm of privacy violation that affects millions of users worldwide. The path to reclaiming your communication privacy begins with understanding that your current smartphone is fundamentally compromised from the moment of purchase. Every device comes equipped with a unique International Mobile Equipment Identity Number, commonly known as an IMEI, which serves as an immutable fingerprint linking that specific device to your identity and activities. This identifier becomes permanently associated with your purchasing history, account information, and usage patterns, making it impossible to achieve true anonymity while continuing to use your existing device. The first critical step toward private communication involves acquiring a new smartphone through carefully orchestrated means that avoid creating any traceable connections to your identity. This process requires abandoning conventional purchasing methods in favor of cash transactions that leave no digital paper trail. Traditional financing options through cellular carriers represent perhaps the worst possible approach, as these arrangements require extensive personal information including your name, address, social security number, and detailed financial history to establish credit accounts. When selecting a device for private use, Android smartphones offer the most promising foundation due to their open-source architecture and the possibility of removing manufacturer-installed surveillance software through a process known as rooting and degoogling. This technical procedure involves gaining administrative access to the device's operating system and systematically removing or replacing Google services, Samsung's tracking applications, and other pre-installed spyware that phones ship with by default. For users lacking the technical expertise to perform these modifications themselves, seeking assistance from knowledgeable friends or purchasing devices that come pre-configured with privacy-focused operating systems like the Pine Phone or Librem 5 represents a viable alternative. The acquisition process itself requires careful operational security measures to prevent creating connections between the device and your identity. Purchasing a used smartphone from individuals located several towns away through platforms like Craigslist provides both financial savings and enhanced privacy protection. This approach reduces electronic waste while simultaneously making it significantly more difficult for anyone to trace the device back to you. The key lies in conducting these transactions entirely in cash and avoiding purchases from people within your immediate social circle, as such connections could easily be discovered through basic investigation. Once you have secured an appropriate device, the next challenge involves obtaining cellular service without compromising your anonymity. The regulatory landscape varies dramatically between countries, with many nations requiring government-issued identification for any cellular service activation. However, the United States maintains relatively permissive policies that allow individuals to obtain prepaid cellular service without providing identification, addresses, or even real names, provided payments are made in cash. This regulatory environment creates unique opportunities for privacy-conscious Americans to establish truly anonymous communication channels. Prepaid cellular plans offer particular advantages for users with modest data requirements, often providing more cost-effective solutions than traditional unlimited plans while maintaining complete payment anonymity through cash transactions. The primary operational challenge involves the need to visit physical stores for service payments, making it advisable to purchase several months of credit simultaneously to minimize these potentially compromising trips. The activation process represents a critical vulnerability that must be managed with extreme care. After investing considerable effort in obtaining an anonymous device and service plan, many users inadvertently compromise their privacy during the activation phase by conducting this process near their homes or while carrying their existing, identified smartphones. Cellular networks continuously monitor device locations and can easily correlate the appearance of new devices with the presence of known devices, effectively destroying any anonymity you have worked to establish. Proper activation requires traveling to a location with significant population density but minimal surveillance camera coverage, such as public parks or beaches, while leaving all other electronic devices at home. This ensures that when your anonymous device first connects to the cellular network, it does so in a context that provides no identifying information about its user. The presence of many other people helps obscure your specific activity, while the absence of your regular devices prevents any correlation between your old and new communication tools. Maintaining the privacy of your new communication system requires ongoing operational discipline that extends far beyond the initial setup process. The device must never be used to access existing email accounts, social media profiles, or any other services connected to your verified identity. Instead, all digital activities conducted through the private device should involve newly created accounts that have no connection to your previous online presence. Even seemingly innocent activities like taking photographs or consuming streaming media can compromise your anonymity through metadata analysis or behavioral fingerprinting techniques that identify users based on their unique consumption patterns. The applications installed on your private device require careful vetting to avoid inadvertently installing tracking software. Major technology companies including Amazon, Google, Facebook, and Microsoft have embedded sophisticated surveillance mechanisms throughout their application ecosystems, making it essential to avoid their products entirely. The F-Droid application repository provides a curated collection of open-source alternatives that have been audited for privacy and security, offering functionality comparable to mainstream applications without the associated surveillance apparatus. Physical security measures play an equally important role in maintaining communication privacy. Your private device should remain powered off and disconnected from all networks whenever it is in proximity to your home, workplace, or other locations associated with your verified identity. This includes situations where you are carrying your regular smartphone or traveling in vehicles equipped with GPS systems, satellite radio, or other network technologies that could be correlated with your anonymous device's presence. Even devices with removed SIM cards and disabled cellular services retain the capability to make emergency calls, which requires connecting to cellular towers and potentially compromising your location privacy. The solution involves implementing electromagnetic isolation through Faraday containers or, for budget-conscious users, aluminium foil wrapping that blocks all radio frequency signals including cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS transmissions. These barriers prevent your device from inadvertently transmitting location information during periods when privacy is paramount. The intersection of your private communication system with other technologies requires careful consideration to avoid compromising your operational security. Connecting your anonymous device to Windows or Mac OS computers for routing, media transfer, or any other purpose introduces significant risks due to these operating systems' extensive telemetry and data collection practices. Microsoft and Apple continuously monitor connected devices and installed applications, potentially creating records that could undermine your privacy efforts. Linux-based operating systems offer a superior alternative for any activities requiring computer connectivity. These open-source platforms can be configured to minimize or eliminate telemetry while providing all necessary functionality for device modification and media management. The investment in learning basic Linux operation pays dividends not only for smartphone privacy but for overall digital security across all your computing activities. The financial aspects of maintaining private communication often surprise users who are accustomed to subsidized devices and monthly payment plans. However, the true cost of conventional smartphone services includes not just monetary payments but the comprehensive surrender of personal privacy and the ongoing risk of identity theft through data breaches. When viewed through this lens, the upfront investment in anonymous devices and prepaid service represents exceptional value for the security and peace of mind it provides. Success in maintaining private communication ultimately depends on developing new habits and routines that prioritize operational security over convenience. This means accepting limitations on spontaneous device usage, maintaining strict separation between your verified and anonymous digital identities, and exercising constant vigilance about potential surveillance vectors. The discipline required may seem burdensome initially, but it becomes second nature with practice while providing invaluable protection against the increasingly sophisticated surveillance apparatus that surrounds modern digital communication. The knowledge and techniques outlined here represent just the beginning of a comprehensive approach to communication privacy. As surveillance technologies continue evolving and governments expand their monitoring capabilities, the need for private communication channels will only grow more urgent. By taking proactive steps to establish anonymous communication systems now, individuals can maintain their ability to communicate freely regardless of how the political and technological landscape develops in the years ahead. The path to communication privacy requires dedication, careful planning, and ongoing operational discipline, but the alternative, complete surrender of personal privacy to corporate and government surveillance, is far less acceptable. In an age where digital communication has become essential to modern life, the ability to communicate privately represents not a luxury but a fundamental requirement for maintaining personal autonomy and freedom in an increasingly monitored world.